As the anti-mandate protest at Parliament closes out its second week, there's growing concerns around the strain on police resources and the well-being of cops. Police Association President Chris Cahill joins me. Chris, what type of feedback have you received from officers about the situation in Wellington?
Well, generally it's been relatively positive. I mean, last week the tensions were pretty high. There was obviously a fair bit of confrontation, and we had a few officers assaulted. Things have settled down a bit this week. There's much more of a holding pattern. And there's a lot of staff having to sort of just be on standby in case things escalate. But in general, it's been a slightly better situation. But in saying that, they're still deployed away from home, and there's still, the tension is still just underneath the surface, and at times there's some of that overflows to abuse.
Are you aware of exactly how many extra cops we've got down there, and if there's any talks around more potentially arriving from other districts?
Up to a couple of hundred police officers there, and they're from, at this stage, Wellington and throughout the country. Police are doing a pretty good job of revolving staff through, so replacing them after they've done a 6 or 10 day, 6 day or 10 day period. And obviously the ones that came at very short notice, they've tried to roll them out and bring in staff that are better prepared. But that is having an effect around the country on other business as usual within the districts the staff have come from.
So how is that putting a strain then on these other districts? Are we finding that some of them are being left a little bit short-staffed?
Yeah, no, that's is the case. I mean, these are frontline officers that are required. Many of them need to be trained in public disorder, that sort of thing. So they're officers you see on the street 24/7, and then that causes the staff that might do more investigative roles or some non-frontline roles have to move into frontline roles in the district. And so over time, other duties drop off. And it's really compounded that this has been happening, to be honest, since about 2019 and the mosque shootings. There seems to have been one thing after another. It was that, then it was White Island, and then the whole response to COVID, MIQs, checkpoints, and that's just having that compounding effect on districts around the country.
We've already seen this protest now in its second week. I know you've mentioned yourself that it could last potentially months. How long is too long really before, when it comes to police resource, something needs to be done, because we can't see all these cops constantly away from their district?
Yeah, it's probably an issue of how it develops. I mean, while I agree that I think it will go on for many months, I'd hope that a lot of those protesters will go home. You'll have a core band, and really all they want to do is camp out and have a visible protest rather than look to civilly disrupt by either entering Parliament or blocking the road. So that becomes a lot easier to police. But currently there's that risk of them still trying to get into Parliament, and of course the blocking the road, stopping people going about their business. I see High Court trials have been suspended now. So those things can't continue, and police will have to take action to try and get that stuff moving.
We've had word that COVID cases have been present at Police HQ. Are you aware of this, and how worrying is that news?
Yeah, it is a concern. Obviously, police have things in place to try and make sure that it doesn't go right through work groups, and there is a lot of staff working from home. They are, for want of a better phrase, administrative staff at this stage, not operational, but it is a concern. And the real risk for police is that they have a lot of staff having to self-isolate, but that's where rapid antigen tests play a big part.
And just finally, on the wider welfare of police throughout this operation, what's the sort of sense you're getting for how they're faring?
Look, the morale's still pretty high, and obviously, last week, it was pretty difficult, and it's been better this week, but it's really more, again, that compound effect of being away from home for one operation after another. That has effect. Families are also worried, obviously, so that that flows into how the officers are feeling. So it's a matter of getting that balance right. But look, police are doing a really good job of looking after people, making sure that they've got the appropriate accommodation, appropriate food, and that they're getting breaks from standing outside at long distances. But everything has a limit as far as people go, and staff will quickly, certainly in the medium term, become overdone with it and need to get home to their families.
And so just on that, are you quite pleased or satisfied with the support that police are being offered while down there?
Yeah, they are. I hope to get back down there this afternoon to have another check-in to see how they're going. But to date yet, I think we've learned a lot over the last couple of years with all these deployments, that it's really important to make sure the welfare of staff is foremost at your consideration if you're going to get a good day's work out of them all. And that's happening at this stage.
Great, thanks Chris. That's Police Association President Chris Cahill. To stay up to date with the protest, head to nzherald.co.nz and you can watch our daily live stream there on Facebook and YouTube with Focus Live. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. To stay up to date with all the latest news from the New Zealand Herald, click the subscribe button below or check out one of the videos here and head over to nzherald.co.nz for more details on these stories and more.